Throughout history, the path to groundbreaking inventions was rarely smooth or easy. Many of the innovations that we now take for granted were met with skepticism, ridicule, and outright failure at their beginnings. The inventors behind these creations faced countless setbacks, technical difficulties, and sometimes even social rejection. Yet their persistence and vision ultimately revolutionized the way we live, communicate, and interact with the world. This story is about failure, not as an end, but as an essential stepping stone towards success and transformation. Let's explore some of the most remarkable inventions that struggled in their early days but went on to change the world forever. When we think of the electric light bulb, the image of Thomas Edison's glowing invention immediately comes to mind. However, Edison's success was not immediate. Before he perfected the incandescent bulb, Edison and his team tested over 1,000 different materials for the filament, including cotton, linen, and even human hair. Each trial ended in failure. The filaments burned out too quickly or were too dim. In the 1870s, the idea of replacing gas lamps and candles with electric light seemed impossible to many. Electric lighting was initially expensive, dangerous, and inefficient. Even some investors doubted Edison's vision. Yet Edison's persistence paid off when he discovered that carbonized bamboo could serve as a long-lasting filament. This breakthrough extended the bulb's life from mere minutes to over 1,200 hours. Edison then went on to create the first practical electrical distribution system in New York City, enabling cities to be lit at night. Edison's invention sparked the electrical revolution, lighting up homes, streets, and factories, extending productivity and improving quality of life worldwide. Today, the light bulb remains a symbol of innovation born from persistence. Alexander Graham Bell's invention of the telephone is often presented as a straightforward aha moment, but its journey was anything but simple. Before the telephone, communication over long distances relied heavily on telegraphy, which transmitted coded signals rather than voice. Bell's challenge was to transform the human voice into electrical signals and back again, something never achieved before. Early prototypes were crude, and many skeptics dismissed the telephone as a novelty with limited use. Bell also faced fierce competition and legal battles over patent rights with other inventors, such as Elisha Gray. The first successful voice transmission in 1876, Bell's famous, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," marked the beginning of a communication revolution. Yet, public adoption took years, as telephone lines needed to be built and users had to be convinced of the technology's value. Today, the telephone laid the foundation for modern telecommunications, evolving into mobile phones and the Internet, connecting billions worldwide. The dream of human flight has fascinated mankind for centuries. Long before powered aircraft became a reality, brilliant minds dared to imagine soaring through the skies. One of the earliest recorded attempts came in the 9th century from Abbas ibn Firnas, a polymath from Muslim Spain, Al-Andalus. Fascinated by the idea of flight, he designed a glider-like apparatus with wings made of silk and eagle feathers, inspired by the flight of birds. In a daring experiment in Córdoba, Ibn Firnas launched himself from a high point. He managed to stay in the air briefly before landing roughly, injuring his back. Though the flight was not entirely successful, it marked a historic step, a scientific, courageous attempt to challenge gravity and understand aerodynamics centuries before modern aviation was born. Fast forward to the early 1900s, the idea of controlled, powered flight was still seen by many as impossible, a fantasy reserved for dreamers. numerous inventors had tried and failed, with some even paying the ultimate price. Enter Orville and Wilbur Wright, two bicycle mechanics from Ohio, with an unshakable belief in the possibility of human flight. They rigorously studied the principles of aerodynamics, conducting hundreds of glider experiments before finally integrating a lightweight engine into their design. On December 17, 1903, the Wright brothers achieved the first powered flight in history. It lasted just 12 seconds and covered 120 feet, but it proved that controlled powered flight was indeed possible. Surprisingly, their accomplishment was met with widespread skepticism. Many experts and journalists at the time refused to believe their claims, suspecting exaggeration or outright deception. Undeterred, the Wright brothers continued refining their design, demonstrating longer and more stable flights. As they gained recognition, governments and private investors began to see the enormous potential of aviation, from military applications to global transportation. Today, air travel is the backbone of international commerce, tourism, humanitarian aid, and cultural exchange. The modern world is unimaginable without it. And while the Wright brothers are rightly credited for pioneering practical flight, the story would be incomplete without acknowledging visionaries like Abbas ibn Firnas, whose early dreams helped inspire the age of aviation. Their combined legacy teaches us that every great achievement begins with an idea, and often a failure, followed by relentless experimentation and unbreakable determination. The Internet's origins lie in the Cold War. Born as ARPANET in the late 1960s, a project funded by the U.S. Department of Defense. Its original purpose was to create a decentralized communication network that could survive nuclear attacks. At first, the network was small, slow, and complex, accessible only to a handful of researchers and military personnel. Many doubted it would ever be practical for everyday use or commerce. In the 1980s and 1990s, the invention of the World Wide Web by Tim Berners-Lee transformed the Internet, making information accessible through simple hyperlinks and browsers. Despite early technical glitches and limited access, the Internet quickly expanded, reshaping industries, economies, education, and social life. Today, it is an indispensable part of modern civilization, enabling instant communication, streaming, social media, e-commerce, and much more. What do all these stories teach us? That failure is not the opposite of success, but a vital part of it. Innovators didn't stop at the first sign of difficulty. They tested, refined, and believed in their vision despite skepticism. Invention is messy, unpredictable, and often discouraging, but it's also the birthplace of progress and transformation. When facing setbacks, remember Edison's thousands of failed light bulb filaments, the Wright brothers' short first flight, or Fleming's accidental mold. Each step brought them closer to breakthroughs that changed the world forever. The history of invention is filled with stories of initial failure, disbelief, and hardship. But those who persevered transformed the impossible into the everyday. Inventions like the electric light bulb, telephone, airplane, internet, personal computer, penicillin, and even the humble post-it note were all once dismissed or ridiculed. Today, they are pillars of modern life. These stories inspire us to keep pushing boundaries, learning from failure, and daring to dream. Because the next world-changing invention might be just one more attempt away. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories like this one. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Which invention surprised you the most? Drop your opinion in the comments below. And if you'd like to see a part 2 with even more inventions that once failed but changed the world, let us know. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and keep dreaming big.